Oh, the hardship over this thing. Now, I'm not saying it's hard to use, but I literally have struggled for years wrapping my head around what to tell people when it comes to magnification lenses. Now, listen, I'm not saying don't carry a magnification lens when it comes to fire creation. I get the concept. I get that this thing is renewable. So unlike a lighter that can run out of fluid, or a ferrocerium rod that can run out of strikes after thousands of strikes, this thing will just keep producing that hot little beam of light. But there's so much more to it that I always struggled with. First being, when people say for an emergency situation, carry this because you always have fire, I always found a lot of fault in that. For the simple fact that most emergency situations are gonna happen when the environment is not on our side. It's not gonna be a nice sunny day with open, bright skies. It's probably gonna be dark, or it's probably gonna be snowing or raining or super overcast. Or even better yet, you're just gonna be deep in the woods and you're not gonna get them nice beams of sunlight like you always need for this. So it's very environmentally dependent if this thing's gonna work for you or not. So I think I finally made up my mind. Now maybe this will change, but I've been pretty consistent with this before I did this video, and even I think this is where I'm gonna be at. I think that where a magnification lens really fits into the whole scheme of survival is the fact that we can create char if we don't have any with this. Okay, so just bear with me and think about this for 1 second. If you have a flint and steel kit, you know that you need char. That's like the third component that we so many times forget to mention with that, but it's flint, steel, and char. But something like this can aid into that flint and steel kit tremendously if we ran into a situation that our char cloth just wasn't working out for us. Now, we need to think about that though for a second, because if we got into a situation where we're in the woods, starting to get dark, and we realize our char got damp and it's not gonna work, if we don't have sunlight, this thing's not working. So there's just so much downfall around this little device that you can't put that much weight into it, in my opinion. But the video is not all about just bashing this thing, because this is fun to use. It's a great teaching tool. It's a great way for kids and beginners really quickly to make fires with char, to experiment with different fire making methods. But when it really comes down to it and you start to develop your skill set, this thing is gonna get pushed further and further in your pack and probably not brought out too often. So I know that's long-winded. Again, you want to carry this thing, it weighs literally nothing. My point being, where I'm at with a magnification lens is that you slide it in with your flint and steel kit and you forget about it until you would need it. So when would you need that? So if you are for some reason making a flint and steel fire and you don't have any other fire starting devices along with you, and you for some reason use up all your char, or you forget to make char and you're on your way the next day, you can really quickly pull this out, and then you can find some natural materials and you can start another fire to make char. And that's sort of where I'm gonna let it at with my opinion around this. I'm gonna show you how you can do that with inner bark of trees, because it's viable, it's something that can be done, especially on a sunny day. It's relaxing, you can just get the job done, get that fire going, make your char, and go on with it. Okay, so I constructed a bird's nest out of inner bark from tulip poplar, but I also kept a little bit of it back, okay, right here. I kept a little bit back because we need this in order to ignite it, okay? So what we're gonna do, it's all right even if you have this a little bit damp. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put it in between your hands and you're gonna start to roll it. You need to keep rolling it, okay? I'm gonna get it a little bit damp with some spit because it's gonna help it bind up a little bit tighter, and you're just gonna continue doing this for a while, okay? Again, this is a process that is not gonna be an emergency process, all right? So you have some time. The longer you sit, the tighter you make this little ball, the better it's gonna work. We need it very, very dense. So we need a super dense little cocoon looking thing. So I'm out here in the sun now. I'm gonna take my little cocoon that I created and rolled up for a while. I'm gonna just place it on the lid of my empty char tin. And then I'm going to take my magnification lens and I'm gonna just get the right angle. I want that solid little beam, and I'm gonna keep it there. Now once you see it smoking, you gotta keep it there for a little bit, because this does take a little bit of time to actually become an ember. As the sun moves, you got to play with it, so just have some patience with it. And you can see we have some smoke there. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point now is I'm going to place that into my bird's nest. And I'm going to start to give it some heat. All right, again, good bird's nest technique. And if you look at it this way, you can see that's expanding quick because we have a nice sunny day out. I'm letting the wind do some work for me. Okay, so you can see the smoke's not blowing in my face. And just like that, we have ourselves fire. Now, what's important to understand with this is that as soon as we do that, we've created fire. We need to think about making char. So if you need to cut your underwear or cut your t-shirt, you're gonna need to do that. If you're gonna use natural char, go ahead with that. And that's it. That is my thoughts on magnification lenses. Okay, so it's definitely a viable thing. It's something that you can work on. It's going to enhance your skill around fire making. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty of should this thing be like what you're considering your fire starting device, I do not believe that to be so. I would definitely take 2 ferrocerium rods over just having a ferrocerium rod in this, but this is a good addition to your kit for a circumstance where that you either, number 1, are using it as a learning tool, or 2, you're going to make char because something happened between when your fire ended and you are going to make your next fire, and it's sunny and it's comfortable and you know that you're out of fire starting material. So keep all that in mind, but at the end of the day, you process that through and you come up with your decision. I'm not telling you to do one thing or the other. I'm just giving you what my opinion and what I think about the whole scenario. But definitely viable if you get some inner bark or some dry grass to be able to ignite that, to make a fire, to make char. I guess that's my whole point of this whole thing. But it was fun to do. I had a good time with it. So definitely think about it and come to your own conclusion. This was Dan Wowak of Coalcracker Bushcraft. As always, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods with or without your magnification lens. It's up to you guys. Oh.